right now, just your testimony is like even got me teary eyes. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, when did you really felt that love? Like I'm pretty sure your father had all that contained in him, and
Yes.
he was just waiting for that years. Think of like now. Let's put ourselves in the other perspective. He knew
Yeah.
probably did wrong, and he was also healing to see how can he give that back, and all those years that he couldn't.
Yeah.
When did you really felt that that love just poured into you, and what did you do with it? Like what how were you able to contain it all in?
Wow. We had what I would like to say a real conversation. And it's a funny story because I went to this one organization and we were trying to work on this partnership for interns. And the gentleman said to me, "You know what? I just want you to sit in this office real quick with, one of the administrators. And I have this other gentleman I need you to meet with. And he does things with kids as well. He's active in the community. And I think you two will work perfect together." So I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting with the lady and her and I having a great conversation. I think she was finishing up a training on the computer. And he goes, "Okay, are you ready to come meet him?" And I said, "Sure." He's like, "Yeah, you can leave your stuff. Come on." Okay. And when I go in there, I automatically knew who it was. Like, we both had the same facial expression, and when I tell you everything just fit,
Mm.
Like, whatever I was feeling, whatever I wasn't feeling, whatever I meant, it just went away. Because, like I said, at that point, all the pieces came together. Now I could put a name to it. I feel like a lot of my issues with men that I had was centered around the fact that my dad wasn't there. So it definitely affected the types of men that I chose, and the way that I carried myself. And when we had that conversation, so many things came together for me. He has showed up for me. He even when I didn't ask him to, like, it's just been amazing. It really has.
Wow, and showing up when being asked, that's a huge act of love. Oh my goodness.
Exactly, exactly. And even going back to your other question about what I was healing from, one of the other things that I was healing from was, I lost my boyfriend in 2015 from congestive heart failure, and he was only 36. And that was another thing that I had to heal from. But before I could really heal from that, not even like 6 months later, my mom had a massive stroke to the point where we didn't think that she would still be here. And coincidentally, I was home that day and I was a workaholic. Honestly, I think to an extent I still am. But for whatever reason, this day, I decided to like actually use my comp day. And, and she had a doctor's appointment. So, she's coming out the bathroom. I heard a thud. And, when I went in there, I saw the condition that she was in. And I automatically knew something was wrong. I didn't know it was a stroke then. I just knew something was wrong. So I kept talking to her and I'm like, "Oh, Mom, I'm getting dressed now. Okay, I'm calling 911. Okay, But honestly, I think a part of that was also calming me down because if I really like thought about what I was doing, I probably would have lost my mind. And fortunately enough, and the doctors even said this, I saved her life because had she had been there by herself, the longer that you're in that state, you lose oxygen to the brain. So it could have been fatal. And then she had open heart surgery after that, had to go through an extensive amount of therapy and things like that. So it was a lot that I was going through, which is why it took me so long to finish my doctoral program. It took me 7 years because I always tell people life happens. So you may have this thing where you're like, you know what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be done in this amount of years. I'm going to get married by this age and I'm going to have this amount of. But life has another way of working out for you. And I've learned that everything happens for a reason. And so I had to heal from those things as well. Like, wow, like if he was still here, I could have been my husband. Or wow, if I wasn't, so it was a lot of things that I was going through. And I'll be honest with you, to this day, sometimes those thoughts still creep in, but not as heavy because no one is perfect. Like I said, giving ourselves grace. No one is perfect. So you're still going to have those moments, but you have to make sure that depending on what those thoughts are, they aren't persistent. They're not consistent. They're not dark thoughts, things like that. Because when they are, you have to seek help.
Mm,
You have to talk to somebody. So those were some of the things that I was healing from.
amazing.
Well, with the when like dark thoughts come up, I always try to figure out like what is the silver lining? How can I transmute it into something that's good?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And it's good when you can recognize it because some people can't.
Mm,
And then they start to spiral, and that's where the overeating, the over drinking, and that self-medication comes in. But I'm fortunate enough where now I'm at a place where when I start to feel like, okay, I'm not feeling like myself, okay, let me call this person, or you know what, let me go for a walk. And we all know how seasonal depression can be as well. We're always in the house, it's dark, things like that. Work out, I have an exercising bike in my room. When I start to get in those moments, I hop on the bike, listen to some good music, read a good book, journal if you can, or phone a friend, and hopefully that friend uplifts you and doesn't feed into that mood, because we have those friends as well. But yeah, when you recognize that about yourself, like I say, change the channel, do something else so that way it can put you in a better space. And also monitor what you're watching on social media, not just on TV. You'd be surprised at how certain pages that you follow, certain people that you see often, can also contribute to the feeling that you're feeling. So at the beginning of the year, I made sure to delete a lot of different people, unfollowed a lot of different pages, and believe it or not, it changed my algorithm. So when certain people are like, "Oh, did you see this? Did you know about that?" And I'm like, "No, that happened because I don't follow those pages anymore," which is a good thing.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I call my best friend the boundary queen because she's so great at setting boundaries. How
I
would
love
you
it.
how would you model boundary setting for somebody who struggles with it?